but sometimes I miss that arrogant ass.
Look at him smiling. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I
share
did it.
some from it. I feel like I just want. Oh, did you?
But deaf nears and sneers creeping behind my ears, whispering, I'm here, don't fear.
Okay, Mr. Graffy.
What's up?
I hear American German girl that ×2 military poetry. What do I need to know to get an understanding of who you are?
To get an understanding of who I am, I think first of all, people should know that I think I'm a very emotional person.
Okay.
So I think all of those things that you named are parts of me, but those are parts of me that are outward, that has evolved me as a person. But knowing me is knowing that I'm emotional, and that's how it transcends into all those other things, especially when it comes to my art, my poetry, my music. Very emotion-based musician, right? If I'm sad, you're gonna hear sad songs. If I'm happy, you're gonna hear happy songs.
Have you always expressed yourself through poetry?
Yeah. That was actually the first thing I ever did. It's not sad. It is sad, but the reason I'm laughing about it is because it was such a happy moment for myself to express. Like, my family is very much like over the top, overt. And so in my household, everybody either screaming or fighting or something always going on when I was younger, and I was always like really reserved. So I just started writing because that was my way to express how I felt. So I wrote this poem about how I feel, because I didn't know my father growing up. So I wrote a poem about how I felt it would feel for my dad to come back. And like, it was like a whole thing. Like, I had it in my mind, and then when I put it to the paper and I gave it to my teacher, she thought it was like such an amazing way for me to express myself, instead of like a lot of people around my age being like angry, frustrated, and doing that. And I just remember being like, wow, I have an outlet. I have an outlet to be able to express who I am, or what I want to say, or how I feel, or if I'm down, if I'm sad, I'm this. I have an outlet. So that's why when I think about it, even though it's like a sad thing to talk about, as far as like the overall concept of it, it's liberating when you found the outlet.
And how old were you?
9.
So you've been doing that ever since. How often do you write? You just write on a daily basis, or
Every day.
every day?
Every day. But I'm always constantly thinking about like words, and how to manipulate words, how to put things together, or like what's a different way to say you got on black shoes with yellow socks, instead of just saying it straight like that, right? Like, or maybe like shoes with the color of onyx with the sunshine, or it's like something that's like very beautiful, and creating something that's simple, and then making it so exacerbated that it's beautiful, even the simple things in life. That's why I feel like life is super, super complex and beautiful, even though the simple things we do. So
what you said about the metaphors or analogies resonated with me, because I love that so much myself.
yeah,
Being able to paint different colors to what you're saying, with basically you're saying the same, like the message is the same thing, but the way you choose the words in what order creates like um, a different mental picture,
yeah,
I think. Do you have a favorite metaphor or analogy of yours that you've written?
yeah. So
Look at him smiling. He's like, yeah. I sure do.
Man, I'm a wordsmith out here. But
Okay. Let's hear it.
so I wrote this line right after the insurrection, right? And after the insurrection, the Capitol building in the U.S. and stuff. So I wrote
For
this.
the people that are not aware of that.
Yeah, that's whenever they tried to overthrow the government on January 6th, because they, wanted, the president, the now president, then president, and they thought the election was stolen and all this other stuff. So they ran inside the Capitol and just tweaked out, as we say in Chicago, like, hurt a lot of people, got people hurt, etc. So I wrote this song called Foggy Bottom. And Foggy Bottom is a place in DC where all of like the government buildings is.
Because you are from DC?
I'm from Chicago, but like
Okay.
all of our government is in Washington, DC, like our federal government, in an area called Foggy Bottom.
Okay.
And then foggy bottom is also like a metaphor for keeping the fog in front of you so you don't know as the person at the bottom of the totem, so you don't know what the people are doing to keep you ignorant. But anyways, I wrote this line and it says, I got these idioms on lock to lock in capital, right? So idioms is, obviously I'm not gonna sell to intelligence, but idioms. So I got these idioms on lock to lock in capital. Snowflakes couldn't weather the storm, so storm the capital. Because the people who utilize the word snowflake are in terms being snowflakes.
But you have to be very clever to get that one though.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not ready for the
100%.
dumb
Yeah.
ones.
No.
No,
I
get
think-
on my level.
I think that it's one of those things where it sounds cool at the basic level. Like snowflakes couldn't weather, snowflake is weather. They couldn't weather the storm. So storm the capital. So it's a play on both of those words. So you can hear it in a simple form of it, but you can also dive deep into it and cut it up into different pieces.
Okay.
That's one of my favorite, but I got like a million because I'm
Do you
nice
want
like
to
that.
do you want to give us one more since you're so considerate?
Yeah, so let me see. Let me scroll through my Rolodex real quick.
The library.
I have I don't think this is so much as a metaphor, but I think it's just a powerful statement that I have when I do Foggy Bottom live. I add an additional verse.
Okay.
And the verse starts with, not impressed with forefathers that oppressed my forefathers. To protect their own daughters, black men were literally slaughtered. You thinking that Lincoln would give a fuck about our kin if the brother Frederick Douglass wasn't eloquent with the pen? So the reason I find that that's so impactful is because, yes, we give Lincoln a lot of credit, but
And you're referring to Abraham
Lincoln, yeah. But without Frederick Douglass being there to push the needle forward, do you think that we ever would have been, emancipated?
Would we?
All right. Stay tuned on the next episode.
Cliffhanger, y'all. So you said that you write on a daily basis. Do you write just because you said you use it for as an outlet or expression? Does everything you write become a song?
No,
obviously not. But so what differentiates what you just write to express yourself to what you write to make a song?
Oh, that's a good question.
Thank you.
So I would say it depends on how vulnerable I feel like I want to be. Sometimes I will write things that are really vulnerable about myself personally, and I don't feel comfortable to let the world hear it yet. That's how I know that I don't want to make it a song.
Okay. So if it's too deep.
Yeah, if it's too deep and I'm like, I don't want to share this, then I won't make it a song.
Well, why wouldn't you? You know that we all just, I think that as human beings, we all love storytellings. We love hearing about other people's challenges, vulnerabilities, what connects us. So why do you think that there's a blockage for you to share certain things?
I want to keep a piece of me for me. I found like even whenever I started like making music and releasing music, and even just being more personal when it comes to poetry, that once I said it out loud, it was everybody else's. It no longer just was only mine's. It might have been mine's. It might be mine's in theory that I've still felt it and I went through it, but now it's everybody else's. It's no longer mine's. So as I'm continuing to give people these pieces, I want to be able to keep something for myself too. Those are my boundaries. And I've had that happen like in the middle of doing poetry. Like, damn, this is too personal. And then I was just freestyle like 4 more lines and ended the poem because I felt like I'm not gonna give y'all that right now. And that's,
Okay.
I think as artists, we have to, especially like the more that we're asked to give, we're asked to give a lot more and more and more and more and more and more. So,
But are you asked to give, or do you feel like there's a need? Because in my mind, I believe that everyone who expresses themselves through art, not for the business, but through art, it comes from feeling a lot And I think that as an artist, you have to express yourself, and you've just found a way to express yourself. But if you don't constantly keep expressing yourself,
Mhm.
isn't that you suffering?
No, 'cause I think if you well, I'm still expressing myself and I'm
You're
still
just not
writing it.
sharing it.
I'm just not sharing all of
Okay.
it, right? So I would say a vast amount of it I am.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I haven't gotten to that point where I've shared that portion musically. I do have a song called Overcast, and I'm writing very like emotional aspects of situations
Mm-hmm.
while I'm getting them out, but I haven't released it because I think I'm still navigating
Okay.
how to get that portion of me out.
Mm.
Um, but I found like a space now where I'm getting better at it.
Okay.
And
How would you describe your current relationship to your own emotions?
oh, great now. Um,
What does great look like?
great looks like it's just allowing myself to feel. I think coming from Chicago and being like, you know, survival was survival was number one. Emotions are just like, emotions get you killed.
Mm.
So it's kind of like I got to put these in the back burners while I'm trying to continue to learn how to survive. And as you continue to get older, you bury that, and then you don't allow yourself. Like sometimes as a man, I have to understand like it's okay for that I feel sad today, or it's okay if I feel down today.
Mm-hmm.
And I allow it, and I allow it by writing, and I say, I feel sad, and I might write something that's super sad, or might be happy. Like I'm just allowing my emotions to be free, and um, having a good relation with a healthy relationship with them.
The way you answered that question made me I got the impression that that's a change that you've grown into.
Yeah.
What sparked that change, do you think, for it to begin?
I think I got to a point where when I wasn't expressing how I felt, then I was like adopting like unhealthy coping mechanisms. You know,
Like what?
like just partying, drinking, going like being OP about different um different situations. Like instead of like dealing with it, like um I have a EP that I wrote called Toxic Summers,
Hmm.
and that is uh, me dealing with like living loss and living like grief, and like not really like allowing myself to grieve.
Not really dealing with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like just like masking. So like that EP is me going through these stages of grief.
Hmm.
And how I realized that I was going through these stages of grief was when I read about stages of grief, like went to therapy and talking about grief. And I started looking like through like the last couple of years, and I realized I was making this music during these stages of grief. So like the EP kind of wrote itself. So I was like, oh,
Hmm.
I wrote this song when I was like super angry, or I wrote this song when I was shocked, like in shock or denial, like all these different. I was making the music, so my words were already telling, and I just had to come to the terms and I get these. I had to get these, the actual, what is it like the therapist saying like this is what stages of grief look like, and then
Hmm.
giving it to me and then me looking at it and then looking at myself and like, oh wow, bro, you really was going through all of this and making this music. You were telling already to yourself.
Mm.
So that was my first portion of like, here's some vulnerable ass music I'm gonna give you guys, but I made it so it doesn't sound like that when you
Okay.
listen to it sonically. It doesn't sound like it.
Do you think it would sound differently now that you're this version of yourself who already went through therapy and have had some reflection about stuff? Do you think that that EP would sound differently today?
No, I think it would sound the same. I think it would sound the same because a lot of those emotions and a lot of the concepts of the songs were raw. So I went in there to fine tune them to make sure that they're giving these emotions, right? Like if you hear shy energy
Mhm.
and it's supposed to be anger, but it's like a story of me in Chicago
Mhm.
and how I felt going to Chicago. And like every story in there is true. Like, me picking up, swerving in and out of traffic with my sisters, like all different, just the energy. It's raw. So I don't need to fix it, or I don't need to like put it through the therapy wood chipper because it's already what it is.
Yeah, okay.
It's just now me acknowledging and being like, yeah, you was angry when you made that song.
Okay.
So that's cool.
Sometimes when I write stuff, I write in the moment. I might put it away and then I might revisit it.
Mhm.
And when I do that, sometimes I feel like, ooh, wait, it doesn't even feel like me. Like I remember
Yeah.
everything, but that was something else flowing through me.
Yeah.
Can you relate to that?
Yeah, no, 100%. It's, that's funny you said it. Yes, I think that whenever you look back at it, again, like through a heel lens, you cringe, but it exists.
Mm.
It existed.
Mm.
So it should be allowed to exist because you can't erase it. You just acknowledge it and understand where you were at that time in that space and then continue to move forward in a better space after that. So the baby ugly, call it baby ugly. It's still your baby though. You know what I
True.
mean? Like, so I just, that's how I look at it.
Do you feel like you felt it the opposite way? That you've read something that you wrote and you missed that version of yourself, or what you missed that experience?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I miss like this is hilarious. But and it's not because I really try not to dwell in the ego. Like I try to. I'm sorry. I'm really trying to not dwell in the ego. So, but sometimes I miss that arrogant ass Graph. Like I miss this that overt bravado. Like I'm really like that. Like you're not. I miss that person. And I think that people sometimes need to have that person to put them in a place because you could be humble, but also be like extremely confident, right? And I maneuvered super far on the opposite side when I felt like I was so arrogant coming from Chicago. I'm like, all right, I'm like, let me dumb it down. But then you get down to people be habitual line steppers, and like now you got to be like, I miss when I used to just be like, bro, hey, what's up? I'm trying to keep it PG. But yeah, sometimes I miss that person, and I'm writing a lot of music like that.
Well, I would say you're still the same person, but it's just a different version, maybe. And you miss that version or whatever you went through in that phase.
Yeah.
And I mean, as we grow older, my experience is that we tend to lose a bit of like the feeling of immortality, maybe, and then we adapt sense and logic and love for people and care and stuff. Sometimes I wish I could just go back to being reckless. Like, yeah, I don't care about tomorrow, man. I live right now. But now you're like, wait, hold on.
Wait a minute,
Can't be doing that.
No, it's repercussions, man. But I think you see things like that. Like, the perfect example is like, just talking about like artists that I respect and I look to is like you look at Kendrick. Like he made Miss Morale and the Big Steppers, and that's very therapy. Like I'm working through my problems, and then it's like people become habitual line steppers. So then you hear GNX, you hear the next album, it's very much like bravado. Like I'm tired of I'm that guy. Stop playing with me. So when that person is like laying dormant and you're trying your best to keep them at bay, sometimes you miss them, and sometimes you got to pop out and show. So yeah,
I see what you did.
Yeah, you see that? I can't look around on it.
One of my favorite songs of you is "What's Up."
Yeah.
Can you tell me about how "What's Up" came to how that manifested in real life? Like, how did it go from whatever you experienced and the words you found till it being a song that we can listen to now on all streaming
Streaming, yeah.
platforms?
Check them out. Check out What's Up. So I make a lot of music that I never release. Like I have like pop songs, like rock songs, like I'm like always making different music, right? So I'm a poet, been a poet forever, right? And I'm phenomenal at poetry, right? I think I've mastered it and I'm still stuff to learn. Writing lyricists, I can write raps, like metaphors, similes, personification, da-da-da. But I wanted to make something like different and like show people that I can make a different type of song. So I heard this song called Tadao by Masego.
Masego, yep.
Yeah, and that song is so dope.
Mm.
And I was like, man, I would love to make like a song like this. And then there's a song called Beauty by Drew Hill. Walking every day. That song is a classic.
Mhm.
So I wanted to try to encompass that like lady in the red dress, like you
Mhm.
see a woman or you see like a across the room, you be like, wow, like you at a bar, you at a club, whatever, and you should
Mhm.
like, I gotta say something to her. I gotta speak to her. And I think that everybody's felt that before.
Mm.
And so I was in the studio and I was listening to like beats, da da da, and then I made that hook and I just put it on Instagram, like just because I was like, oh, let's just see, like I'm just playing around. And I
Mhm.
remember some friends was like, you gotta make this song. You
Mhm.
gotta make it. Like, ooh, I met a woman whose entire existence danger. And she got an aura that'll wrap you up and change you. Like that is like encompassing like
Mm.
what it feels to have like a woman like that. And
Mhm.
I'm like, I wanna make something that women can hear too and like and put a smile on their face.
Mm.
So like bam, I wrote what's up.
Did you take that from your own reality at the moment?
Yeah, no, I think that I've had experiences like, you know, where I've uh seen like women and
Mhm.
like they've had this aura that it's when you're around them,
Mm.
it's not so much like suffocating, it's like it progresses you. Like you make you feel like you want to be better.
Mm.
So
Mm.
whenever I
Shout out to the
shout
women
out to
like
the women.
that. Woo! Shout
You
out to
know,
the
shout
women
out to
like
the
that.
women. Shout out to the women. So I'm like, how can I show my appreciation?
Mm.
How can I show the appreciation to the women in the world and women who I've been in that type of environment with? Like, how do I give them their flowers
Mm.
without it being so like overtly sexualized or da da da? Like, how do I write it in that in the aspect of like, I love your soul,
Mm. You mentioned the word aura.
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 Mm,
How do you interpret the power of someone's aura in real life? And
mm.
how does it affect your personal connections? Even myself, I'm like, what am I asking?
Yeah, no, that's a man. Okay. Let me see. Aura. So like I'm pretty big on that. Like I'm pretty big on like getting around people and like, you know, sensing like that, like, you know, we do vibe, like a vibe check. So I've found it out I've always been more myself around people who have like good aura or good energies or like good chakra alignment. Like, you know, I have
Like what does sorry to cut you off.
yeah,
What is a good aura to you?
I think somebody who has like a strong sense of self.
Mm.
Like I can feel when somebody's being genuinely themselves
Mhm.
or they're trying to be like a facade of them of
Mhm.
something. Um like it's no place for me like for facades people to be around in my environment and be like a facade of yourself.
Mhm.
So people who are like genuinely themselves, people who might laugh a specific way or speak a specific way, I don't want that to be hidden.
Mm.
So when I feel like that genuine, that's the aura that I seem like, oh, you like, you really like this. Like you really super goofy or you
Mm.
really like super quiet.
Mm.
Like those are the people I like.
Mm.
I don't like people who like try to create a or, you know, I don't care to be around people who try to create a facade because now you are a soul inside of a flesh. Then you're trying to fit yourself inside of a box.
But wouldn't you say like that is part of like living life in a society? Like sometimes you have to be a different version of yourself, or you might have to highlight a different side of yourself to fit in the room, or
Mm,
to make. Do you get what I'm saying? Like to make sure that your message is conveyed in. Let's say if you're on stage and you're a shy person, if you can't adapt to the room,
mhm.
your message might be lost. Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
don't you think like at times you have to kind of get into a performance state of being without it necessarily being a facade? Because you're not necessarily hiding who you are. You're highlighting something you know that would make it easier for you to deliver a message in a room.
Yeah. No, I think the key words in there is like you're. It's a extension of you. You just further extending a portion of you that already there.
Mhm.
I don't feel like that in terms of being a facade.
Okay.
No, it's like we got people who I've been around who like aren't from the environments I'm from. Like I'm from Chicago. I don't run around like I was like Vaughn or like I don't make drill rap. That's not the type of person I am. So for me, just because I'm from Chicago, should I automatically try to create a facade like, yeah, man, I'm running around with the deuce, like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, that ain't me.
Mm,
So that'll be a facade if I try to create that environment around.
okay, I
Like,
get it.
but I can extend a portion of that, of who I am, through my lingo, through my culture, through the type of person I am, to connect with people from Chicago, because I'm still culturally from Chicago, and they still are accepting of that because I'm not creating no facade. I'm
Okay.
just further extending my culture, know-hows, and cultural being to connect with them.
You've mentioned Chicago quite a few times now, and I think that you know very much what it's like to be from Chicago,
Yeah.
but we might not.
Yeah.
So what is your experience of being from Chicago?
So,
Another great question.
yeah, another great question. Yeah. So you got them lined up. So I think that from my experience of growing up and being from Chicago is like, I feel like Chicago is very much a mask, because people think about it as violence and gangs and stuff like that. So like people get that at the forefront, but they don't understand like how beautiful and how vibrant, how the culture of Chicago.
So what
So
is the culture of
so the
Chicago?
culture of Chicago, first of all, we don't eat deep dish pizza every day. I know y'all people like to think that
Wait,
we don't eat deep dish pizza.
no, at this point you're defending Chicago.
No.
We just want to hear about Chicago.
So
No one's
Chicago,
attacking y'all.
so Chicago is like this vibrant melting pot of different types of people, right? You have like downtown that is super busy, and they have like this like eclectic environment. But then I'm from like the south side of Chicago, Inglewood specifically, where it is very gritty. It is very down to earth. Like it is very can be very aggressive, but it's also very beautiful and very tight knit and very much like influenced by the South. Like my family's from Mississippi, so we grew up with hardened exteriors, but we create like everlasting bonds. And I think that the more you know somebody from Chicago, we could be very loud, very like overt, but we're very loving because of how much we have to go through constantly. Like, growing up, every time I move, like every year having a fight, every time I go to a different neighborhood. But I think over time, going through so much turmoil, that it made me appreciative of every experience when I left there, or even just going back home. It made me really appreciative of eating Italian beefs, like this is the type of food that we have there, like from Italians, or going to eat pizza, like all those experiences that I don't get to do often. It
Mm.
made me appreciate it even more, and then it made me appreciate even coming over here in Norway and
Yeah, because I
sitting out
think
here.
you're from Chicago,
Hmm.
you lived in Germany,
Yeah, I
and
lived
now
in England.
pardon?
I lived in England. I lived in Germany, DC, Ohio,
And now you're in Oslo.
and I'm in Oslo.
Why?
Yeah, so I'm here for family. So I have some family here, so I'm here quite often to visit my family. But I also would like to move here eventually to stay
Oh,
close to my family. So I'm here trying to connect with the other artists, like to see what it's like being, uh, what the Norwegian experience is like. What it's like as far as for writers. I went through a couple of I went to a poetry slam here, and then also jam sessions with different artists and musicians. So you guys have a small bubble. Um, I feel like it could be exacerbated because art is everywhere.
mm,
I feel like, that's something I want to do.
uh-huh.
So yeah, I'm here just to continue to connect and continue to network, and to get some inspiration for myself musically, um, and infuse myself in the culture of the regions to see No, but except for brown cheese, that's the only thing y'all got that. Y'all can have the brown cheese, but everything else has been pretty very nice people, I feel.
Cool.
So I wanted to ask you, okay, because we already we already talked about you writing, and we talked about this before, but I wanted to know, like, whenever you started writing, what was like the most vulnerable piece you wrote and you put out, and like, were you nervous to do it? Like, what's the most vulnerable piece you've ever written? And did you release it? Like, did you release it so everybody heard it?
Yes, I did. I would say the most vulnerable piece I ever wrote was the first thing I ever released, called Contemplating.
Yeah.
That that is even when I listen to it now, I don't love it sonically. There's something in the mix that I don't necessarily love,
Yeah.
but the words, that was not me. That was divine energy flowing through me because I was like, damn. And I did release it, and I think I was nervous about how it would be perceived by people, but I also just felt what I felt.
Yeah.
And I was proud of those words finding me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did release it, and I didn't really care what anyone thought, but it made me happy when people resonated with parts of it or some of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Was it vulnerable as far as like it was about you, or was it about someone else?
It was vulnerable because I wrote from an I or me perspective. So whether it was about someone else, it was presented as something that I felt or
Yeah.
something. And it was 1,000% about me, but I
Yeah.
had different situations that I wrote from. Um, and still to this day, I know who those people were, and I still remember what the situations were.
Yeah.
So when I listen to it now, I don't do that too often because it wasn't a very comfortable phase of my life. It wasn't, but I'm happy it became what it became, and yeah, I'm happy those words chose me.
Yeah. And I think when we did discuss a little, like, some tidbits about it, you said that whenever you started writing, it was just like it
Yeah,
was just gone.
yeah. But sometimes I'd stop to see if, oh, can I find a different way to say this, or can I paint a picture without saying I am trying to paint a picture?
Yeah.
Can I just say something that everyone could resonate with, and then try to lead from there?
hmm
But you've heard that song.
Yeah. That was the first thing I ever heard from you. I was like,
Was
dang.
there anything you heard within that song? I don't know if you remember it, but that resonated with you.
No, I think that and I couldn't tell you like a specific line, but I felt like overall it was at a space that I couldn't get to, like, where I could tell that it was very vulnerable, and I was like, how do you just give everybody this? Like, that to me that was not envious of it, because I'm not envious of other artists, but it was like,
You were
how,
inspired.
yeah, you get inspired, right? And you want to push, like, how, I'm like, how did he get to that point? Because I'm still writing like about social political issues, da, 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 like social issues, da, da, da. I'm writing like about outside perspectives, but like something about me. And because I know you said that sometimes you'll write something, and we, like, as artists, we'll go back and listen to it. It's about painful situations. So do you feel like if it's about painful situations, and initially when you to release it was therapeutic, is it therapeutic when later on you listen to it and it's still painful? Is it still therapeutic?
Great question. Um, my brain is still trying to find what resonates with that. Mm, I think when I write it in the process of painting the picture, choosing the sounds, working with a producer, this and that, it's still mine.
Yeah.
As soon as it's everyone else's, I'm done. It's no longer mine.
Mm.
I When I put it out, I'm done. But when I revisit it, I remember it more than feeling it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I would say that one of my biggest challenges was I find myself to be like a happy-go-lucky guy,
Yeah.
an intricate one at that. Uh, and the music that I put out wasn't necessarily a happy-go-lucky thing.
Okay.
So in my mind, I was like, does it make sense? And then a good friend of mine reminded me, it all makes sense because it's all you. And whether they know you as this or that, it's all you. Like the common ground is you.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll get to the point where you want to be more vulnerable?
I do. Um,
The reason I'm asking is it sounded like something you were inspired by, but at the same time, you said before that you want to keep some stuff private.
yeah. Yeah. I've written and done things that's personal, poetry wise. Music, I feel like I've gotten to that point. Like, even a song that I just released, "Unworthy." I released it because I felt like it's a what is it, self confidence,
Okay.
right, or a self love issue, where it's like you feel sometimes undeserving of love.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, why am I feeling undeserving in love? Why do I feel like I push people away to like lead me to my lonesome, lead me to my sadness, lead me to all this stuff, and I'm just gonna wallow in my pity and sorrow. All this, I just want to feel so sad. And but I'm writing about something like situations very like personal, but I'm just jazzing it up, so it sounds like it's a bop.
Mm.
It's like Hey Ya, like Outkast, like it's a
Mm.
sad song, but
Mm.
everybody's dancing to it, but it's sad. But I haven't got to that point where I'm like, I think I'm gonna get to that point when I release a third EP.
Okay.
So because the EPs and releases is just like a trilogy.
Mm.
So it's Toxic Summers, then it's gonna be Still Healing. That's me going through like a more arrogant, bravado, boisterous phase, right? Which I feel like is needed.
You mentioned unworthy,
Mhm.
and you mentioned the song as a title. Um, do you feel unworthy?
No, I don't feel unworthy.
No, I
I
don't.
don't. I don't feel unworthy. I think I have spurts where I do. Like, not overall as a human being, I don't feel like I'm unworthy of love. I don't feel like I'm unworthy of like success or any of these specific things. But I'm a human being. So it's times where, I don't feel the most confident or I don't feel, the most handsome at a very small amount of times. But, sometimes I don't feel as handsome or I don't feel, all these things that, releases these endorphins and, the dopamine boosts. I don't always feel that way. And I think that it's very important that I express that as like a Black man. I
Mm.
feel like it's very important because the expectation is for me to make some bravado, like OP, like super cool rap songs, right? Like nobody's expecting me to talk about, yeah, I feel undeserving of love. Like I'm sad, I'm depressed. Even though we kind of get into that point now, like
Mm.
as a culture of expressing that more. But I think that that's what makes me um, different as an artist. Is that I'm not afraid to make songs like Unworthy,
Oh.
and I'm not afraid to talk about those times where I feel down. Uh, but I'm also multifaceted as a human being. And that's why I can make different songs and different music.
Mm.
So I feel worthy, man. I feel like I'm on a good trajectory.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Life's amazing.
Love that. We love that.
Yeah.
Do you have any music coming up that you're excited about that we haven't heard yet?
So yes, I have a song releasing this the 14th of March called Killer Bee Flow 2. So I'm a big anime watcher. So
Oh,
I watch this show called Naruto. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know Naruto, but it's like an
I've
anime
never heard
show.
of it.
So it's an anime about this like child, these like ninjas, and there's a village called the Cloud Village. And the crazy thing is, a lot of people in the Cloud Village are Black folks. So there's this one.
What is a clab?
It's
What is
like it's
called?
just one of the villages within the show, right? Every village
So
has their own ninjas,
okay.
and in this village, there's this it's called a Jinchuriki. He has like a animal that lives inside of him. I'm trying to explain it the best I possibly can, simplify it.
Also, please note, Adam is so excited. Adam's like,
I'm trying my fast route.
Adam's literally like,
It's like every moment that I get to the point where I'm trying to explain it more, it seems like it's getting more
yep.
complicated.
It's getting, I have no clue. Do you know what he's talking about?
Yeah, I'm talking about It's this guy, Killer B. He's a ninja, but he's always rapping and stuff on the show. So I just thought it'd be cool to make a song called Killer B Flow because he's always rapping in the show. And all of the nerds, all of the blurs, they'll know who Killer B is because it's a lot of anime things.
So this is not a song for us, like the
no,
masses.
it's a song for everybody. It's just me to be able to overtly express my lyricism.
Okay.
Because I feel like when I'm making songs like Unworthy or I'm making songs like
What's Up?
What's Up, right? Yeah, like I can't be super complex with the wordplay because then it's
gonna fall off, yeah.
Absolutely. And I had to learn that the hard way because I'm like, oh, I'm making this rap song. Don't they hit the bars? And they're like, that's not really my feel. Like, how can I simplify it and still get the point across? So that's why I felt like I did really well on What's Up, more Unworthy of those songs. But then there's like this itch as a writer, as somebody who loves words, who manipulate words. Like, I need to write those triple entendres. I need to write metaphor symbols. I need to get that out. And that's what Killer B Flow is. So people who are like the rap fans are going to be like, yeah, we've been waiting on this. Then I have a feature, Playing with Fire, coming out with artist Lawrence. That's coming out this month. Next month, I have another feature with artist Artillery the God. And then the month after that, I have another feature coming out with artist King Tut. And then I have another song called Floaties coming out in the next couple of months.
So you got bare songs.
I got a lot of songs. I got the vote is like, I'm Santa Claus, man. Presents for everybody.
You said something about the word, my train of thoughts. You talked about when you write songs and this and that. Can you also appreciate when a bar is like super straightforward, or does that become too easy for you?
No,
like too simple.
No, I think that is, you need every facet of it. It's like when Jay-Z say, "I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman." Like it's not super complex, but it's just
that one is a bit. That's not too straightforward, is it?
No, it's straightforward for like writers. Like for us, we like, was it that hard to say, to come up with, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman? Like, it's not that hard, but in theory, applying it to the person and how he, profess that, and everybody knows who he is, and he's a business, like he's in entirety. So you gotta just pop off sometimes and just keep it very simple. But the complexity is like something that I think we love as rappers, and rappers are like English majors, right? Like do the literary forms of it, through like writing composition and reading comprehension. Like we are manipulating words. So
when it comes to like manipulating words, we spoke about this before. Like we both find joy in like choosing the words and taking away one word to change the structure of a sentence and whatever. One of the sentences in that Contemplating song that I wrote, I want to just ask you because it means something for me, but to a fellow wordsmith, I wonder what it means to you. I say one of my favorite lines is, where two ways diverge, they also collide.
Two ways diverge.
Where two ways diverge, they also collide.
So being like on two separate paths that cross each other?
That's what I said. Do you tell me what you think that is? Or where does your mind go when you hear that?
How did you say it
like I just said it?
Like just very straightforward.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like people having two separate ways of thinking and those clash.
Okay.
That's how I get it. But I'm a big proponent of like context clues. So whatever was the line before and after that, that's the bread, and then that's the peanut butter and jelly in the middle. So how did you go to the next thing before you came to that conclusion? Because they never exist by itself.
True.
Like it's a sandwich. So whatever is the first line and the next line after that, it could either lead into it, and then all of that together is like what makes that meal. So they can mean that. It can mean what I just feel from myself singularly, but then the line before and after can change to totally different aspect of it.
How about I loved you in oceans, but you loved me in waves?
So that is a dope line. And this
Thank
is
you.
what I feel.
Can you say that again?
That ain't dope lines. That's all we give, right? We got it. I felt like whenever you told me that line and I heard it before, it's like my love is steady. Like it's continuous. It's always there. It's not fleeting. But yours is in waves. It comes whenever
The wind blows it?
it's there and then now it's gone. It's there and then now it's gone.
Oh.
That's how waves are. But the ocean is steady. And which love would you rather have? The steady one.
But you don't have the waves without the ocean, though.
No, that's true. Dang. I think I feel like that's a concept of like how people deliver love different ways. What is it like? Love languages. Yeah. So even if you feel like whenever you're talking about that, you're saying waves are always there without the ocean. So the love is still steady, and then it's an overt wave. Because I just think about it in that and like it's just separate.
I mean, there's no answer to this. It's just I just wanted to see where your mind went.
Yeah, that's what for my mind is like. I love you. My love to you is steady. It's continuous. It's always there. And your love for me is just here it is. Then it might not be there. Here it is. And it might not be there.
I love that interpretation. I think when I wrote it, I envisioned the ocean as being somewhere beautiful and endless. So I love you endlessly. You love me in waves means there has to be something else. Like I have to tell you how to do it, and then you can give me hints of it from time to time. Because there's no wave without wind, right? And the wind has to come. Like there has to be things in line for you to then do it. When you do it for a little bit, and it's not, you can't predict it necessarily. And the waves can blow. They can be long waves, short waves. Sometimes you love bombing, like
Exactly. That's
tsunami
what I was trying to think.
vibes. Other time, like so. Not that a tsunami comes from wind, but so that was what I was saying. Like mine's just like it's endless.
Exactly.
This one needs a lot of things to be in place for it to be like every now and then.
Right.
And sometimes it's a lot. Sometimes it's no text back.
Yeah, it's inconsistent, right? And then that's what I was trying to think.
The word.
Yeah,
It's
that's what exactly.
Look
Yeah,
at
yeah.
us. Look at
Get
us.
the pound together, man. What are you talking about? Black Boy Joy.
So you're gonna write the Contemplating Part 2 then?
Yeah, 100%. Put me on there. I'm gonna try to adopt your style. I told you before, like your style is very hard for me to do because I'm just like, hey, I'm in your face. Everything is like super overt. So whenever I see people who are able to give like their lines very steady and like you said, let the words speak for it over the inflection, like the voice inflections, it's like, man, I'm like, I gotta learn how to do that.
Well, I really love, because I love your voice and the fact that I've been hearing some vocals in there, so I'm like, damn, I can do that. Yeah, like I heard it. It was loud and clear.
Yeah.
I think I'd love to hear you because I love the bass in your voice, and maybe I would mix it differently than you do.
Yeah.
But I'd love to hear you choose the words and let the words speak for you instead of using your very great abilities to go up and down and this and that to just say what you're trying to say without leaning on too many melodies or anything. Not because I think you'd be greater. I'm just very curious to know what that would sound like.
Yeah, I feel like the only time I've ever did it was like it was when the song I wrote, which I made into a poem called Overcast. But now I call it Amoy. And omoi means like melancholy or sadness in Japan, which is blurred space. Again, is one of the ninjas in the Cloud
I
Village.
knew we were going back
Yeah,
to
we're
ninjas.
gonna go back.
The
It's
body
omoi,
language
omoi.
told me we're going back to the...
Omoi is he's a ninja, right? But he's always like asking different things, like, what if I fall down right here and then there's a hole and I hurt my knee? Like, it's like he's overcomplicating simple situations. So it's like how I wrote it. And my voice is very much like that, very straightforward, doesn't fluctuate, doesn't go here. It just, but it's like very personal. So I tried to adopt that style so that people could get what I'm saying.
Okay.
Instead of like having to feel it, they feel it through the words because I'm really like particular about what I'm writing about.
What is that song called on DPS?
It's
DSP?
so it's not out. Cause I only released like a clip of it on Instagram.
Then why are you telling me?
Cause I want you to know, y'all will know that I'm like that.
Karma doesn't sleep. Karma got your address. I want to hear that song though.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it out because I did it. I like put it on Instagram and everybody like, where's this song at? Da, da, da. And I was like, I didn't know y'all was gonna like this.
No, but it doesn't matter what we go like. You put out what you made.
Yeah, no, that's true. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
I made it into a poem though, so I was able to do it. So there's this talent show called Show Me What You Got in Germany. It's like a pretty big talent show. You win like €1,000. So the second time I did it, I did that poem, that first piece of that, what I call a moi. So
Can you
I
share
did it.
some from it. I feel like I just want. Oh! Did you? All right, let's hear it now. Wait.
All right, let's everybody get into our happy place. I'm gonna take you on a little adventure. All right, so it goes like this. I spilled some words to a friend that got back to my soul. And through that backfired plan, I felt the world go cold. Just on a slippery slope into a bitter end. And as we start to lose hope, we seek to reprehend, hoping that tears don't fall on deaf ears. But deaf nears and sneers creeping behind my ears, whispering, I'm here, don't fear. Just grab the Belvedere, and I got you all on your solo, no one to commandeer. Imperfect human, driven to be perfect. For those that's worth it.
Wait.
I was gonna get the good part.
Wait. What?
Yeah. I wrote that in a very, very sad time. And I was like, this is fire. But like when I was writing it, and this is like moment of being vulnerable, I was crying the whole time I was writing that. Like I was just crying. Man, I was just writing it. But then when I got done, I'm like, this is so fire. And it was like,
it is
purifying. It was like, you know.
Ooh, okay, continue.
So what I got? But deaf nears and sneers creeping behind my ears, whispering, I'm here, don't fear. Just grab the Belvedere, and I got you all on your solo, no one to commandeer. Imperfect human, driven to be perfect, for those that's worth it. A stupid purpose. Cause as I survey the surface, I see that earth shit. My best friend birthed bliss. Then we enter ellipsis. For those eclipsed by the quips that jerk from my lips, a dough that I came equipped with. Or I quit quick from past traumas that hold and control from these past ships. Friend, relation, kin, bruh, even a slave ship. No wonder Didi was phoning up Dr. Lipschitz. I never healed from what was said, I just grew distant. And in return became defensive like a piston. Instead of listening. And now I'm listening to Love and Happiness by Al Green in the kitchen. Staring at the stars and blowing kisses. Hugging on my demons like shit, I kinda miss this. I know a place where if I show, they turn their nose up. And though it hurts, my focus is my daughter's glow up. If we would judge by only faults, no one has no luck. So when it comes to all they judgment, I give no fucks. If that target on me, or would they bring you some glee, I be the sacrificial lamb, so just do what you need. Don't know why, but never ran from being crucified. But I heard being dead inside is a new alive.
And that's it, folks.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I tried to do that, like, so I have like this whole bridge at the beginning, and it was super hard for me to get through the bridge without tearing up because like the chorus is like, I never got a chance to give all of me. That nature and that nurture, it bothers me, yeah. So I paint ugly pictures on canopies, watching as the tears just fall on me, yeah. Man, I can't kiss my child and that bothers me. 'Cause even though I'm here, I can never be there. I think I lost me a son and that bothers me. With some water and some sun, I give all of me. And I wrote that and I wrote that whole verse and I was like, yeah, man, it's purifying. It's like, I needed to get that out. But yeah, moi.
Wow.
Everybody's telling me I need to
I
get
think
that.
that needs yeah.
Thank you.
All of that.
We made it, mama.
Oh my God. Well, damn.
The silence is good. It's in your mind. But yeah, I can write stuff like that. I like to, entertain that, but it's obviously very like emotional to try to get through that piece. And the first time I ever did it, I remember like I felt my voice quivering, and I don't ever get nervous when I go and perform. So I remember when I was doing that first portion of it, I felt my voice quivering, and I was like, bro, so but then like the artist community, the poetry community is like really comforting. They're like, hey, you got it. Like, everybody's like, no, take your time. So it's like that space. Like, that's why I think that art is so important. Like, we painting this, what does they say? That art is the soundtrack for life. I'm like a very big proponent, like a person who I believe that the world without art is like a desolate, barren place. And we need color. So I'm always trying to be different, have different paintbrushes.
What is that saying? You can't spell earth without art?
Ooh, I never heard that before. Can't spell earth without art. Yes.
See?
Okay. How many of those you got in your bag?
Let me find another one.
That's fire. Can't spell earth without art. And I gotta get that one now, man. That's all I feel like that's when, like, whenever I'm creating, that's my intention. It's like I want to be a timestamp in somebody's like life. Right.
And you want to have the timestamps in your own life.
Yes, exactly.
To revisit in like 10 years. Be like, look what daddy made.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like that's extremely important. Because we all have songs we listen to and like, man, I remember when I was this year old, like the Isleys or some phenomenal artists out there made soundtracks and timestamps. Like I was so my music can be that for people. And I feel like I've already made that timestamp in certain people's lives already. Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful place to end it.
Yeah. Thank you.
You don't have anything that you feel like I need to know before I leave?
No, thank you, Oslo.
But thank you so much for taking the time and for sharing your art and taking the time to share from your life.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. My brother.
Hey, wait, where were the applause?
Right under your wing, but I tell you something you should know. And I ain't never say I didn't care for you, 'cause honestly,